Hi folks, I'm just going to show some of the key pinch techniques for some of the grip tops. Obviously there's other things like claw grip that we could go into with the shallow hub, but just stick to key pinch today. So the famous ones, the Gripcraft halfpenny, very different to the training penny or things, basically coins on carabiners, because of this fixed plate. The Gripcraft's loading pin would go right up to the base of the Gripcraft, the Gripcraft plate, and a pin would go through it, and it means that there's very little movement during the lift, which is a fundamental with Gripcraft. This plate restricts the not only the amount of lean you can get, but it makes it a very dead lift, and it obviously it limits the amount of skin contact, and means there's no additional overlap with the equipment and with your fingers. So with Gripcraft's halfpenny, obviously it's a conventional key pinch, and I know I've mentioned this a few times, but there's two types of key pinch. It's really subtle but makes a massive difference. So there's an overlapped key pinch, doesn't look like much, but for this one your fingers coming into this direction, and with an overlap pinch suits bigger hands, and it's very good for when you're pinching deep hubs, the hub of a deep plate, and you can actually get your finger on the inside of the Olympic loading pin hole. For the Gripcraft's halfpenny, it's what I would call a parallel key pinch, as opposed to an overlapped key pinch. That's an overlapped, that's parallel. And for parallel, it's even though the power is still in that direction, it's just not visible. So the power is always, I don't know if you can see, but you see it's transferring, you can see it transferring up through there. That's why that's very well developed on my forearm, because it's the direction in which the key pinch is transferring the load. It's not all about having a massive thumb pad, although the thumb pad actually helps with the stability of the thumb. So the thumb pad is actually keeping it in place for the isometric part of the or aspect of the key pinch, and then ultimately the power that allows you to gain that height comes from this part of the forearm. Also, another part of the stability when you're lifting up, you're going up through the lift, comes from the top of the forearm. So it's a balance between that part of the forearm and that part of the forearm, if that makes sense. Okay, so the technique, the important thing is to get rid of any slack in your skin there. So a lot of people worry if their fingers are too thick. I've got quite thick fingers, considering I've not got big hands. They're fairly thick fingers, so I think a lot of people out there maybe would think they've got a advantage if they've got thinner fingers, but I don't think that's the case. I think people like Yuha Harju, who held the record for many years, he's got very thick fingers and big hands, and proves that you can't get around the need for practicing those specific power ultimately. So firstly, you're going to come in low with the hand like that. You see my thumb knuckles actually touching the pad, or touching the plate there, and you're going to turn your finger up. So you make contact with the side of the coin and you turn your fingers up, and what that does is you're taking away the slack. Any slack will mean you lose the lift. So if I was to just grab at that, you can see that skin is going to move, ruins the lift. So come in low, then you grip up. Now with the halfpenny, I tend to come in so that if you look at my body, it's not square on, and it's not exactly sideways, it's about 45 degrees on, and it suits the hand position, yeah? So then this is what you're going to be aiming for. You're going to be aiming for this kind of a position for your grip. Now the finger, the index finger, is coming up very slightly during that lift. Yep, or setting up for the lift, just slightly off the plate. Okay, with stub lift, this is an important difference for me. Stub lift, you're going for equidistant between that side and that side. Yeah, if that makes sense. For the optimum grip. That's why I say it's less important as to whether the stub's on the middle or one side of the knuckle. I favour one side of the knuckle, either the top or the bottom, for the stub lift. Whereas with the halfpenny, as you can see, it's actually is equidistant, but there is more a slight bias in that direction. So there's more verticality to lift down the back of the hand. So you're going to come in, and now this is a very important thing, setting the thumb. Ultimately, again, you don't just grab at it, you want to drag your thumb in. So drag your thumb in, again getting rid of any slack, and also you're pressing any air out from between your thumb and both parts of the metal, so the vertical bit and the horizontal bit of the metal. So effectively you can see you make a little bit of a right angle on your skin itself there, yeah? So you set your hand, you come in with the thumb. And again, this angle, not that, this angle is optimum for this lift. For that position on your forearm, and on aiming your elbow